Welcome to the Effortless Mindfulness Podcast. I'm Loch Kelly, and this is a show about awakening to the deepest dimensions of who we are by bringing together ancient wisdom and modern psychology. In today's show, we're going to explore effortless focus and how to live from what I call awake, loving flow. Most of us struggle with distraction that leads to stress or some kind of burnout. What if the problem is not attention deficit, but attention overload? And what if the solution is already available within us to upgrade from concentration and attention to another type of awareness that has more space and more ability to focus and connect, so we have more energy and freedom? If you're interested in effortless focus and flow, check out the in-depth course that's on lochkelly.org to give you a set of practices to access flow anytime and anywhere. And now, on to our show. So today we're going to talk about effortless focus, what I'm calling flow no, and a sense of allowing thinking, automatic thoughts, to be perceived on the level of energy rather than dominating us or having to be checked on every moment, or even to be observed as individual thought objects. Yeah. So this is the first thing to describe is that there is this other way of focusing, that our culture has what some people describe as attention deficit disorder, right? ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or what I call attention overload stress disorder. So from this view, there is this other way of focusing. There is another level of mind. There is another type of awareness. There is another location of identity that we can be aware from, that we can focus using this other dimension of awareness, and this other mind that isn't the small brain mind, isn't the thought mind, but is the awareness-based mind. And when we can recognize, shift out of the small chattering mind as if the I think therefore I am is the only way to live, and we recognize, as is said in the Mahayana system of Mahamudra and Dzogchen, there is this other nature of mind called Rigpa. Yeah. In Sanskrit, they say it's called Turiya. They say there's four states. There's everyday mind, which is the chattering brain mind. Then the second state is natural state is sleep. The third natural state is dream or daydream. And the fourth natural state of human consciousness is pure consciousness or awake awareness. So we know the other three very well, but this fourth, awake awareness, is the nature of mind. What if this were true? What if it wasn't just for Olympic athletes of meditation? What if we could access, first of all, step out of this small container of our head and this chatterbox of our mind, our brain mind, and realize that's called SEM, conceptual mind, and then there's Rigpa, awake awareness-based mind, that can be aware of thought from a mindful witness, or from open awareness, choiceless awareness, or from awake awareness. And then, importantly, not to just hang out as this open awareness or witness consciousness or detached, non-judgmental witness, but to realize the experience of the awareness and the aliveness are not two. The emptiness and the bliss are not two. There is a non-dual presence that is when the awareness and the movement of thought, feeling, sensation, vibration are recognized to have the same taste. The taste is of awake awareness, of awake consciousness. When we can focus from there, from this field of awareness that is able to be aware of our chattering mind as a part of us, and then we're able to discover that we can experience on a level of highest functioning a kind of flow consciousness, which isn't just for athletes and musicians and isn't just a state, but actually is an optimal way of functioning that there are practices for, that doesn't require doing a extreme sport or something like that to get into this, but that it is a already installed dimension of our consciousness that we can train or untrain is more like we can unlearn the other and then learn to respond. So let's start with talking about how the chattering mind can be experienced from either everyday mind. It's pretty much what we're just self-referencing all the time. What's that? What's this? What's that? And there's chattering mind, and then I'm going to bring another type of thought, which is our subpersonalities or parts of us that will talk. What should we do? Should we do that? We do this. So though we're going to distinguish between automatic thoughts and parts. Yeah, so parts will always continue. Chattering mind can step into the background, can create a peace of mind, so that when then parts step back, there is this clear peace of mind that is baseline. Then when you start engaging with life, different parts will come up, but you'll be the leader of these parts. So first we're going to talk about how to experience the distinction between parts which have an agenda, they have thought, feeling, sensation, and this automatic thoughts. So there's, in psychology, often automatic thinking is divided into positive and negative, as if what's called ants, automatic negative thoughts, are, you try to replace them with positive thoughts. But here, or in mindfulness, you start to, instead of being identified with thoughts, you calm your body and mind with one pointed concentration, and then you step out to a mindful witness, and then you realize, oh, there's no solid self, there's just thoughts, feelings, and sensation. You non-judgmentally witness different dimensions of thought, feeling. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to look back through the meditator to the field of already awake awareness, and then we're going to look both a little subtler and a little more energetically and physically. So we're going to come back to our body, but we're going to regard thoughts the way we regard sensations in our hand and our foot. Yes, so if you were now to bring your awareness to the bottom of your left foot, you will notice that there are nerve endings there, so there is some sensation. A minute ago, you were not it was not in your consciousness. You were not paying attention to that physical sensation in that area. So similarly, we can learn to not pay attention to the mental sensations in your head or in your brain mind. You may not have to agree it's in the head or not. It's okay. Whatever it is, it is a type of brain firing. So we know this from studies in the fMRI. The brain is never quiet, and we're not trying to quiet our brain. So some types of meditation try to calm the mind. You take it from beta level to alpha to, you measure it even in delta and sleep. So the brain can go through calmer states of mind, right? But you can't walk around in delta in deep sleep mind, which is calm. So whatever, first of all, we're going to upgrade so that we're not primarily operating from identity from our thought-based mind, and our nature mind is awareness-based that can move our hand and can use thought and can put your hand down and can let go of intentional thinking, use intentional thinking, but can begin to regard thinking as energy or mental sensations, is what I call it. So the brain is firing, neurons are firing all the time. They have, when they fire, their particular kind of sensation is images and inner talk, like audio and video tapes play in the mind. For most people, it's audio. So thinking is not reading. You can imagine or visualize something, but it's inner hearing or inner dialogue or inner talk. So if we start with hearing as also a type of vibration, yeah, and we allow hearing to not go to be interpreted by the conscious thinking brain or the nature of mind, but just let it be vibrations of sound. So sound outside comes to your ear, and just instead of labeling sound of in the room, it's music or voice, or just shift into just hearing. So neither focusing on what you're hearing or who's hearing, but just drop into as a kind of a intentional, let your awareness unhook from the thinker and the labeler and drop from being engaged with automatic thoughts and move down to be aware of hearing at the ears. Just hearing. Feel that vibration. Notice there is outside and inside equally, and that you're not aware from the thinker, but you're aware from a field of awareness that's equally inside and out. Some more global or spacious awareness that's aware of inside and outside. And just as you did this shift to regard hearing as just vibration, now just be curious inside of mental sensations. So just begin to hear inner talk or images, almost like they're is you're in a restaurant and you hear chatter at some table behind you. So let go of interpretation, sentence, meaning, and just let that kind of vibration happen, those firings, without investigating, interpreting, or interest. Stay alert, fully awake, clear, here. So not going to thought, but not going to sleep. Not going to daydream. Staying here, aware from nature mind and from what's called same taste or unity mind or non-dual presence, this awareness now that arises as this effervescent aliveness that doesn't need to be interpreted or understood, because it's not sending you any information that's needed, and you're fully aware and you could respond to whatever situation, inside or outside, from the non-thought based awareness mind that's connected to your body. So this is kind of a simple first description. There'll be other meditations in more depth that you can find that I lead in the app, my Mindful Glimpses app. So let's move on to the next sense of, so now if we're not focused on the thoughts and we're aware of the awareness and the aliveness as kind of an ocean and wave feeling, and feel almost a little bliss or effervescent aliveness. So your awareness can drop out of your head now. You don't need to keep looking and self-referencing. So you can be aware of your whole body and the awareness around, which is equally also behind you. So notice the awareness that has your back, that's aware behind you, that's arising as your body and connected to whatever objects are in front of you. And just notice that you don't need to use attention like a hand to grab anything, that light reflects off of objects and comes to your eyes. And from this awareness mind, you can even go to an object and become aware of the awareness between you and the object, and then have that awareness become aware of the space between your ears, and then be aware of the awareness behind you that is like an ocean of awareness connected behind, within, and to this object. So feel this interbeing, this interconnection to everything. Feel like you're receiving on the level of light from an object, and feel like you're almost connected naturally to whatever you're focusing on. So you're focusing both by receiving on one level, you're also focusing by this seamless field behind, within, and connected. So if you're doing anything, you're surrendered back to this awareness that's naturally already within and connected. And then you're also connected by this bigger field that is like the whole ocean. You're the ocean itself. So you're a wave, and whatever you're focused on is a wave, and there's a connection from you to this same ocean that's arising as a wave. And from this bigger field of the sky and the ocean, you don't have to go out and grab anything. And you can also be aware of a particular object, and you can be aware of what's around it without pinpointing it. Receptive, connected, embracing. Left brain, right brain, lets your left brain distinguish it, right brain balances. Receptive instead of grasping mind, and then feeling that you're aware of your chattering mind that may be moving, maybe going to daydream, maybe coming forward, but it's just like sensations in your hand now. So you might have pleasant sensations in your hand, unpleasant, might have movement in your body. So your brain is now part of your body. Your mind is in your body, but it's also subtler than your body. So it can be aware of sensations inside and out. And because it's in this field, notice that you can be aware of your shoulder from within your shoulder, from your hand within your hand, rather than from your head, but from the field. And in fact, see if you can be aware of both hands from the field at the same time. So from your mind, you can't be aware of more than one thing at the same time, from your attentional mind. See if, as you surrender back to the field, as you're aware from the field, which is equally inside and out, is arising from this awake awareness to this aliveness, and is equally in each hand and all around. See whether you can effortlessly focus in a way that is a little different. Notice if there's any parts that are trying to reassert their control, or they are scared or have doubts. So working with any parts that are resistant or doubting, or maybe just curious, but or just dealing with something new, or open, investigating from a awake mind that isn't judging but is. So notice if there's any parts, thank them for their help. Just let them know that the idea here is to upgrade your ability to focus from flow. So flow consciousness is this ability. There's three kinds of flow. I said my way of defining it is that there's absorbed flow, where you enter a task or something so in such an absorbed way that it's very pleasant, you're enjoying it, but you look up and time has gone by and you're like, wow, so 2 hours I was there? That's amazing. So this is absorbed flow, is not going down the rabbit hole with your social media. So that's a different kind of mindlessness rather than flow. That's a kind of a being taken down the river, maybe. So this is absorbed and interested and feeling. So then the other second type of flow is I call panoramic flow. So this is eyes open. You're aware of a whole scene. You're walking in nature. You're playing a sport. You're, and you're completely in your body, and you're aware of what you're doing. You're skiing, or you're surfing, or you're just walking with your dog, and you're open and here, and time slows down. You're so in the now. You've dropped out of your ego mind. You feel connected. You feel you're dancing, or you're gardening, or you're playing music, or you're playing music can be absorbed flow too, or with a band, it can be panoramic and absorbed. And then the third kind is awake loving flow. So awake loving flow is you start with panoramic flow, walking in nature, and now you just feel back. Wait a minute here. This is not a state. This is me, and I'm aware behind me, within me, and I'm empty of self. You start to realize, oh, that ego mind isn't here, but I'm optimally functioning. Oh, there's a kind of appreciation for the animals and nature or the people I'm with, or even if it's, a situation that you're kind of at a meeting or something, you're just kind of, oh yeah, we're all trying to figure. So there's a kind of a love and a connection. So awake, loving flow, or loving awake flow may be better, because then the acronym is LAUGH, loving awake flow. So then you start to feel. So this awake, loving awake flow is similar to the wisdom tradition's description of awake consciousness, because you're out of the small self, you're not in the thinking mind, your eyes are open, you're a kind of bodhisattva. You're able to feel non-judgmental, but not just neutrally non-judgmental. You're absolutely engaged, and you're playful, and you have a sense of wonder and enjoyment or bliss in what you're doing, even if it's a mundane thing. So it doesn't have to be exciting or interesting or dramatic. It's just you are alive and awake and flowing in this, and you're not self-referencing. Your automatic thinking is in the background. They're not chattering. There's a sense of being dropped into this kind of heart mind. And then you're able to focus effortlessly from this dimension or quality of. So this is amazing. This is possible. This is trainable, learnable, teachable. And I feel like it's so needed today because of the attention overload, stress disorder that's going on. People are burning out. People are feeling lonely and disconnected. People are feeling overwhelmed by social media and by other and ways that those social media and other things are grabbing our attention, and in the old sense of what the attention is. And then if we can unhook from that attentional system, drop into this flow, we can engage without being either detached or anxious, right? Because when we get involved with negative attentional systems, we go into a kind of a hyperactive fight flight. We trauma parts of us get triggered, and we feel overwhelmed, and we try to do something. Or we're at work and we're trying to manage so many things at home. People are overwhelmed by the different tasks of their family, or organizing household, or at work being required to do more work. And the attentional system of the mind only has so much bandwidth. Some people have a little more. I didn't have a lot. I have some ADHD that this pretty much cured. And in some ways, maybe that's why I even was drawn to learning this system, which is kind of the Indo-Tibetan version of mindfulness, effortless mindfulness, that I feel like this doorway may be the easiest doorway for people to really feel kind of a benefit right away. So I've gone through the doorway of kind of meditation and awakening, and and then the doorway of psychology, internal family systems, to work with the parts and the trauma. So this way is entering through effortless focus, or letting the instead of observing the contents of consciousness, almost going into what's almost like a tantric, in the sense that it's energetic. You let it be energy, you let it be mental sensations, and stay embodied and playful and clear-minded from a mind that isn't moving and it isn't dominating, but it's just like your hand could be, or your body, your stomach could be agitated, right? You could have a stomach ache and you're at work, but you're able to work. It's one area's not pleasant. It's a little queasy, or I'm not talking about a big one, but like a little bit, little headache, okay, you're not comfortable, you're doing. So this is like so that's how it can start, but then it starts to thin out, almost like your mind opens, the automatic thoughts become like you stop the habit of going to them. So it's like the sensations in the bottom of your left foot. They're there. If you want to go there, you can see them. If you want to do meditation, you can listen to them. They'll form into patterns of images and thoughts and stories. And so even the default mode, daydream, and the task mode will start to balance. Yeah. So this is one of the meditations that I did in an fMRI, balancing the default mode, which is the daydream and the kind of a sense of identity that is always longing and daydreaming. And then the task mode is the sense of identity that wants to objectively achieve and control. So both of them, it's not that one is better than the other. There's some sense that, we need to quiet the default mode and then the task mode, and then you'll be functional until your attentional system wears out, and you'll be very narrow. You won't have the creativity of the default mode. So this way of balancing, which there's a study you can see on my website from NYU that I was in, called Non-dual, by Zoran Josipovic. So this meditation, behind you, within you, in front of you, you start to feel the seamlessness drop out of your head into your body, more open-hearted presence, and you can effortlessly focus from here. And it's pretty good. So I hope you enjoy that discussion today. And there are practices and glimpses that can help you. And I hope to create a program very soon that will help with this training, because it can be trained. I feel like I was given this gift of bumping into this early on, stumbling upon it. It helped me in my distraction. And then I've just been trying to make it more accessible, more practical, and for different learning types. So I hope this style is something that is of interest to you and that works for you. So, but at least you listened to me rambling on about something I love, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So thanks so much. In this practice, we will begin with a more traditional way of doing mindfulness meditation, and then continue beyond the meditator to the non-dual mindful flow and effortless focus. So begin by finding a comfortable way of sitting. Allow yourself to settle in. Feel a sense of gravity of your body resting on a chair or cushion. Notice sensations, thoughts, feelings, and then bring your attention to your breath as it rises and relaxes within your body at either your belly or your chest. Just noticing the breath at this one location, the felt sense. Notice the place you're focusing on as your breath rises by itself. And as you do, if your focus wanders, just gently bring it back to focus on this one area of your body in which breath is moving. As you notice this one specific area where your attention is focused, now simply shift from what you're focusing on to where you're focusing from. Where have I been watching my breath from? Notice you have to step back to sense or perceive what was the focuser. Notice that from this new mindful witness, you can perceive both the breath and the area in your head you were focusing from. Now, once again, shift to become aware of the location of the mindful witness and open back rather than pulling back the camera. Look back behind the mindful witness. Feel back to the open space you're aware from. Feel the location of the spacious awareness. Curiously open to see whether there's a boundary or a limit to this open awareness. And if not, continue to open to this already awake, vast awareness that's aware without your help. Notice that this awareness is equally outside and within. Feel this sense of boundless, timeless awareness that's equally outside and within. And notice your breath intimately from within and all around. Feel how the whole field of spacious and pervasive awareness of consciousness itself is interconnected and free, like a seamless ocean of awareness arising as your breath and your body, with no need to create a focuser or meditator. Just curiously, where am I aware from? Notice that equal feeling of awareness, being aware within and all around, so that you can be aware of both hands at the same time. Notice that you can be aware of your breath, your hands, and the sounds in the room. From this awareness, which isn't located in one point of view. Feel this panoramic, effortless focus that's embodied and interconnected. And if it's a new feeling, just familiarize yourself with it and enjoy this non-dual mindfulness that's aware of the content, the context of awareness, and the seamless evenness. Just continuing without effort to marinate without a meditator point of view and settle into a feeling of okayness. It's equally aware of your whole body. And the spacious and pervasive awareness. Just notice that you could remain here and you could speak and respond from this embodied, open, effortless focus. So if your eyes are closed, just continue to allow each sense to be open and receptive as you open your eyes and are able in the next few minutes to remain at home in this effortless focus that's not focusing from your head or a mindful witness, but is interconnected and protected. And you can just transition into movement and return to the next activity at work. Thanks for your openness. I hope you enjoyed this episode and the Effortless Focus glimpse. If you did, you can go to lochkelly.org to find a short program on effortless focus and flow to learn the practices to help you access this in your daily life. And rather than ask for a donation, if you like the content, would you please give this podcast a rating and review? Thank you so much. Until next time, take care.